So I'm out here today in Saltpan Creek, which is a trail in southwest Sydney. Today I want to talk about its history, some of its ecological factors and systems, and just explain my personal connection to this place. I've been coming here forever. Actually, one of my core childhood memories is coming here as a child, seeing this place in all its glory. Just stuck with me, and ever since then I've been visiting this reserve. I actually come here quite often. When I find wildlife in my place, tend to come and drop them off here. So we've had a few blue-tongued lizards just randomly rock up to my house and make themselves welcome. All right, so I picked up a camera today to just record, and lo and behold, look what's at my house. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a big blue-tongued lizard. So I tend to just grab them, put a blanket on them and bring them out here to be with the rest of their kind. There's lots of wildlife here. I've seen blue tongues, I've seen water dragons, I've seen, a lot of different types of birds. So it'll be interesting to see what's out here today. So just for reference, I'll put this down in the description below. This is the All Trails route, 4Ks, estimates around 49 to an hour. What I uncovered during research for this video was quite interesting. This place has shifted and changed quite dramatically in the last 100 years. Indigenous people lived here for thousands of years before the colonialists, but this area initially was a salt extraction mine, so there was a bit of an operation here just to produce salt for the new colony. And once that wrapped up, a woman named Ellen Anderson bought some land here. She was an Indigenous woman, which spurred a lot more Indigenous people to start buying up land here and around the surrounding areas. And he essentially got freehold status. There's no government or missionary control, so Indigenous people were left to live, I guess, however they wanted to live. The government wasn't imposing a lifestyle on them. But during World War II, this was actually converted to a bit of an emergency hospital for the soldiers coming back from Europe. Essentially, that sort of changed the demographic and the purpose of this area. So a lot of this parkland, which was converted to parkland in the 1990s, is built on a rubbish tip. So there's thousands of tons of rubbish. But there's actually 3 endangered ecological systems here. One that's critically endangered with very important bird life and wildlife and reptiles. There's also another interesting story that I came across when I was doing some research for this place, but I'll tell it a bit later in the trail when we get to the main part of the creek. I'm just coming over here because there's some massive spider web. It's made this web. Look how intricate it is, all over the tree. Oh, okay, we've found something. Look at that guy. It's just a shame that a lot of people don't know that this sort of trail or walk is in their backyard. This is smack bang in the middle of Canterbury Bankstown. So what's my history here? I have a very distinct core memory from this place. So this is one of the first excursions that I had in primary school. I remember, might have been kindergarten or year 1. We all loaded up on a bus very early in the morning to come here and learn about mangroves. And now that I think about that, it felt like this place was so far away from my primary school. And I looked it up earlier and it's actually a 10-minute drive, which is hilarious. But I remember that bus drive taking forever to get to this place. Our perception of time as we age dramatically changes. I think there was a quote, something along the lines like, novelty embeds densely. Like when you experience something new as a kid, it becomes such a deep and core memory. So it's called the proportional time theory. The brain encodes novelty densely, so time feels longer when everything is new. So when you're a kid, everything is new. Every experience is new to you, so it feels like life is taking forever, and each aspect, each day of your life, each month is a massive chunk of your life. So it just feels like, it feels like everything takes so long, whereas now we live monotonous, mundane lives, and days and weeks and months tend to blend together. And I can't name the times that I had visited this place. Like I can distinctly remember when I picked up blue tongues, but the one that I have the most vivid memories of is that initial time coming here as a 5 or 6 year old. That has stuck with me. And I guess when I look back to my life and my deepest core memories, it's the days where I was doing things that I hadn't done before. It's like the time I traveled overseas and lived abroad for 7 months. Quite important to constantly seek the novel because it encodes more densely and it's a much more tactile core memory. So just coming up here on the actual opening or the mouth of Salt Pan Creek. I distinctly remember coming here as a child. This is the part where I remember seeing these mangrove roots come out and I was blown away. I was like, what is this? Something out of Alien. I was really into like the Alien movies at the time. I definitely shouldn't have been watching as a kid R-rated movies, horror movies. I distinctly do remember coming to this side as a kid with the main part of the creek on that side and the mangroves on that side, and walking through here. And then this bridge should be coming up on a bridge. Yeah, so this is the main part where most people go fishing in the creek. Not sure how wise that is, considering that this used to be a tip, and it somewhat still is a tip. Shopping trolleys in the water. Nonetheless, it's still beautiful. And again, I think this is why it's important to preserve these sort of areas. There's not much of this around anymore. There's this train passing by. So in 1917, a woman went missing from the Cabramatta train station, a French woman named Sylvia Frances James. It turns out that her body was found here, headless and decapitated. Ever since then, there have been reports of people seeing a headless woman dressed in old-timey clothes wandering around this bridge area. It's usually found hanging around here by this bridge where the train passes over the creek. It doesn't seem like there's any ghosts today, but everywhere you look, there's a ghost story. Take it with a grain of salt. I wasn't able to validate that story, but still interesting nonetheless. There's usually a lot more animals out and about. I think the rain's scared them off, but I tend to see a lot of water dragons and blue tongues and different type of reptiles usually when I come here. What are these, like beans? There's random beans growing here. Look at this. Some freaking ant or insects on me. This is a hidden gem that I found in Sydney that I've always been coming to. I'd love to hear a hidden gem in your local area that is not really well known and you go to often and you've been going there for years. So put that in the comments below. I'd love to hear about that. Look at this guy. This guy blended straight in. Yep, look at that guy. You would have never seen that if you'd gone quick. So we've spoken about its past. What's its future hold? So it looks like there's an $80 million fund being proposed to uplift and enhance this area. And as we've seen, there's a lot of rehabilitation that has gone into here. There's like little fish in there. There's no way I'm ever going to pick that up, but what are they? It's little fish. So as I was saying, there's been a proposed $80 million investment into this, and there's been a few different options floated. I think one of them was like a BMX park or a skate ring or an adventure trail, but I think maintaining it as it is and using some of that money to uplift the boardwalk, to clean it up and to ensure that more investment in flora and fauna and maintaining this nature. Seeing people dedicate their lives to rehabilitating a local area, I think it's important to have people like that so we can have these remarkable places where people can come and enjoy their days and reconnect with nature and just decompress from everyday life. Look at this moss, unbelievable. It's like watching content in HDR. But there's this little offshoot of this trail that I've always found interesting. I'll show you what it looks like. I just wanted to come to this side of the trail because it's like, to me, when I look at this, like you have all these clothes and rubbish. What is that, a pot? Just evidence of human existence. And then you have, a bumper. Just stepped on something. It's just a bumper. There's tiles, there's plates. People have dumped stuff. And then when you look at the rest of the little area, you're under an underpass. This is the M5 maybe. This is purely looks like, The Last of Us. Look at this. The graffiti, and then you got the moss, and there's just the rundown area. Like, how The Last of Us has that fungal infection that's destroyed the world? This just looks so much like this. This looks exactly like a scene out of that game, Last of Us 2. There's actually another one that's further down the trail that's probably a bit more recognizable. We'll go to that now. This is the boardwalk. This is what it's somewhat famous for. Beautiful, serene walk, other than the zooming and the rattling of trucks and cars behind you. But otherwise, amazing spot. I think it's worth coming out here after it's rained, honestly, because usually it's stinking hot. The vegetation and the moisture adds a lot of humidity, but after it's rained, it feels quite cool. It's easy to go for a walk through the mangroves. Wherever you look, you're gonna find rubbish. What I was talking about before, Bella Poarch. She's that famous TikTok star. She had the most liked video at one point. I remember during the pandemic, she was everywhere. To leave you with a question, what's a place that you've been visiting since you've been a child that recently you found out had a much different history? So again, my name is Niz. Thanks for watching. I create content at the intersection of technology, travel, and transformation, and the systems and processes that influence those experiences. So if any of that resonates with you, feel free to come with me on this journey and subscribe. Thanks for watching.